Let me turn on that.
You're gonna use your calculator? Oh, I guess we are allowed. Say you're gonna use your calculator.
I'm just gonna write them down and I'm gonna erase them.
This is
0, 2, 3. So I want to be like this.
What's on your calculator?
Who's on the calculator?
Oh, no.
We're all in the same class.
Oh, yeah.
We're in the same class.
I can just go like this and just.
Alright, let's let the ladies keep eating. And stop talking. Alright. Alright, a couple things here. Tomorrow there is a test, and typically you're gonna get done with no issues. There's 18 questions. You don't get extra time, so you gotta know that going in. So so some of you spend a little bit of time going through things. Reason people don't get done, like on a test like this, is because you really haven't worked at your homework over the last 3 or 4 days. And some test time is the first time you actually really try. So if you run out of time, there's no extra time unless you got an IEP with Mr. Schlur, and that's part of it. So you got to make sure that you pay attention today and that you actually do the work. Because like I said, a lot of times if you just have kind of just not really worked hard at the homework, and then you're like, okay, I'm going to try hard. That's when you end up not running, or you run out of time. So know that going into the test. Got it? Did you hear me, Preston?
Did you record?
I did record.
Did
I did. All right, so 1 through 10. Here's what your answers should be. 1 and 2, it just tells you factor out the GCF. That's all you got. So you got 6x on the outside, 2x minus 5, 2y cubed here, 5y squared plus 18y minus 10. 3 and 4 are grouping, and 5. Now 3, and Mr. Schlur said this yesterday, he goes, don't make that one hard. It's already done for you. All you got to do is take the m minus 5, and then you put 7 minus 5m in the other one. So that's all you got to do for that one. 4, you should get x plus 4 times 2x squared plus 3. Order doesn't matter. You have 2x squared plus 3 first, that's fine. And then 5, though, you got to make sure, since this is a negative in the middle, that you make your GCF negative. The answer is 5x minus 3 times 2x squared minus 5. Now 6 and 7, we start getting into the trinomials. What multiplies to get 48, adds to get 19? 3 and 16. I had a few of you put down completely factored on that one, or not factorable. So you got to watch that one. 16. You might have to do a chart. 7 is n minus 8 times n minus 4. 8 is b minus 10 times b plus 9. These all multiply the last, add to the middle. They multiply the last number, add to the middle. 9, same thing. 9 times negative 2 is 7. Or excuse me, 9 times negative 2 is negative 18. 9 plus negative 2 is 7. All right, now starting with 10, you got that number in front. I got all the work there. And then on today's notes, I'm going to have all the answers so you can go back and look them over.
So like for 8, I put b plus 10 and then b minus, b plus 9 and then b minus 10. Does that matter, like order?
No, order doesn't matter.
Okay.
Order doesn't matter. And so for like number 10 here, you got to multiply 3 times 15 to get 45. I looked for two numbers that multiply to 45 and add to get 14. Those two numbers are 5 and 9. And so then you split that up into 5x and 9x, and then you take your GCFs out. I'm going to do that way. If you guess and check, you're usually fine. So I'm just going to do it this way for the notes. All right. Have your sheet out where your work was. We're going to finish up this practice test here. So we're just going to continue here kind of together. And the next one, because basically we did, I think we stopped at 19. Yeah. We did 19, so we're going to do the rest. All right, be ready to, I got to see what you know, see what you don't know. Okay. See what you know and see what you don't know. So for this one here, Grant, what do you know? What don't you know?
you want me to tell you like what I would do?
Yep, how about that?
I would just do 5 times 3, or 5 times -3, I guess.
What's that give us?
-15.
All right,
And then that's to find something that multiplies 15 as to 2.
okay, now hold on a second. He is right. Now, everybody, take a second. There should be another D on there. All right, this is a key step. Now, you figure out what adds to 2 multiplies to -15. What adds to 2 multiplies to -15. And once you find those numbers, then you know it can be factored. If you can't find those numbers, then you gotta do, then I would tell you to do a chart. Christian?
Would it be x plus 5 times x minus 2?
No, here's what you gotta watch out. What are the two numbers that multiply to -15?
5 and 3.
Okay, and which one's negative?
Negative 32.
You mean -3, right?
Yeah, that's what I meant.
Now, here's where people make mistakes. If you do this, some people will just say x plus 5 times x minus 3. Does that multiply together to get the original problem? No, because if I would FOIL this, I would get x squared minus 3x plus 5x minus 15, which gives me x squared plus 2x minus 15, which really only matches up the middle term. How do we do this one? We do need those numbers. So if there's a number in front of the x squared, this is where we go grouping, and we do 5x squared plus 5x minus 3x minus 3. And we split that up. So you don't, like tomorrow, don't forget about that. The only time that works is when you do not have a number in front of the x squared. All right, now you group. Now you should be able to group from here. Take a second, group. Don't tell me the answer.
All right. You want to spoil it first.
Okay. And your answer.
Yeah.
Now, how do you tell if you're right?
Just do FOIL.
Yep, you FOIL and see if you're right. So. All right, so as you went through there, Josh, what do you got here? Help me out. What's the GCF for the first one?
5x,
Okay, good. And so when I write this, I put 5x here. What goes in the parentheses?
x plus 1.
Don't, yeah, it's good. Don't forget, when you take 5x divided by 5x, the exact same thing. Make sure you make it a 1. All right, what's my GCF for the next one, Josh?
-3,
-3. And now when you divide by -3, what's it give you?
x plus 1.
Okay, good. This is the one where sometimes I see mistakes. You got to make sure you divide by -3 because that -3 divided by -3 gives you +1. So I get x plus 1 times 5x minus 3. Now I asked Grant, how do you know whether you're right? Okay. Do you know how, Sam, do you know how to figure out whether you're right?
Don't you just multiply like 1 and 5 and then x and -3 and then like I don't know.
Well, one thing you can do is you can go back and FOIL the whole thing and you get 5x squared minus 3x plus 5x minus 3. And if it gives you the original problem, you know you're right. And here's what I'm going to tell you, though. You got to be careful. You got to make sure you finish the test first and then go back and check maybe ones that you are unsure about. Because you're probably not going to have time to stop and check each one. That's not how a test is designed. Okay, if you got extra time, you can go back, but don't like say, I was checking my answers. I only got the number 9. I still need to do the other half of the test. That doesn't work. Finish the test first, and then go back and check. All right, same thing for 12, it's the same type of problem, but here's what I want you to do, take a quick look at it. I gave you a clue when we were doing one of the sections, look at the first term and look at the last term. When they are both perfect squares, sometimes you can make that problem easier than doing the whole grouping method. Is the first term a perfect square? Yeah. Is the last term a perfect square?
Yes.
Yeah, 5 times 5 is 25, 2 times 2. What did I tell you to try then? What did I tell you to try before you even go any further? Okay, so I can immediately try something and maybe save a little bit of time. Anybody know what I would do there? Or would Joe?
You would times 4x by 25.
I'm trying to avoid that. You can do that. That works. Trying to avoid that. Connor?
It'd be like 2x on that one, 2x on the other one. And then would it be like it'd be like 5 and 5
5 and 5. Now here one thing you gotta watch is your signs.
negatives.
Since this is a negative, they would both be negatives. All right, now, here's what we're doing. We're just seeing, is this correct? If it's correct, I'm done. I don't need to go through the whole deal. So, yeah, it's correct. So all I gotta do is test the last one, the outer and the inner. And do those add up to negative 20? Yep. So you're done. Now, if you don't recognize this, you are absolutely fine to multiply 4 times 25 and you get 100. What multiplies to equal 100 adds to equal negative 20. Negative 10, negative 10. And so you would do 4x squared minus 10x plus 25, which is absolutely fine because you're going to get the same thing that we got here. Okay, so that is okay to do that. So if you don't recognize it, I'm just trying to save you a little bit of time. It's only if the first and last term are perfect squares. So for 13, is 6x squared a perfect square? No. Is 20? No. So what do you got? You got to multiply the first and the last. All right, you try and do 13 and 14 if you haven't already done so. Okay, there's just like number 11 and 12. Multiply the first and the last. You do need to multiply. And then see what you come up with. And in this case here, if you get done, test it. So you should absolutely know whether you're right or if you need to go back and maybe fix it after you get an answer. So this is where I would do a chart. Okay, so you get some bigger numbers here. So I would, if you need to, do a chart. 6 times 20 is 120. So what multiplies to equal 120? Adds to get negative 23. What do both of my signs have to be, Tommy?
Negative.
Both have to be negative. And so you don't miss anything. I'm always starting with -1 times -120. And remember, you're adding those together. So on your calculator, you would hit -1 plus -120, which is -121. Well, that's obviously not 23. And then you try 2, and then I think 3 goes into it. I think 4 goes into it. 5 goes into it. 6. Does 7 go into that? I don't think so. I think 8 goes into it. Does anybody know the answer? We got Christian.
It's -15 or 8.
-8, -15. Okay, so this isn't one that is, I wouldn't consider this to be an obvious one. So if you go through all those others, and this is where you gotta work quickly, okay, to get through there, you don't, because if you just randomly guess and you don't have a method, that's where you lose time. All right, so -8, -15, so I can make this 6x squared minus 8x minus 15x plus 20. It doesn't matter what order, your work will look a little bit different. All right, I'm gonna just make sure you're caught up. Okay, GCF, Christian,
3x.
what order did you put it in? Did you put the 15 first?
15 on the left.
All right, so then that, but you gotta look at what I got. So my work's gonna look a little different than yours because 3x wouldn't work for this way I have it written.
Okay.
Okay, Jordan, what would be my GCF here? 2x, good. So it's gonna be 2x, and then it's gonna be 3x minus 4, -5. And that will divide and give me 3x minus 4. I get 3x minus 4 times 2x minus 5. All right, so that's for 13. 14, 4x squared minus 7x minus 2. 4 times -2 is -8. What multiplies to equal -8? Adds to get -7. You can figure this one out. That,
-8 and 1.
good, -8 and 1. If I got a negative and a positive, I said this before, I like to put the negative first. So I'm gonna put 4x squared minus 8x plus x minus 2. Oh, you get that right? Nice one. Nice one.
I think that's right. I have no idea.
Did you get the homework? Yep.
The problem is, negative, then go ahead and equal 7.
It's easier for me to do it that way. Okay.
All
All right, Rachel. Does your work look like mine? All right, what'd you put for GCF for the first two?
I have 4x.
Good. And so when I divide by 4x, what does it give me in parentheses? X minus 2. All right, now what's the GCF though for the next set? Good, 1. So make sure you put a plus 1. And then what does that give me in parentheses again? Great. And so that gives me x minus 2 times 4x plus 1. Good. All right, so that's through 14. Okay, 15. What do we absolutely have to do first? Grant.
Put the negative one around.
You gotta factor out a negative or a -1. You have to, those are the rules. So if there's a negative in front, we're gonna make that a -1. Now, double check and see if there's a GCF more than just -1, but nothing else will go into 2, 17, or 30. What that does is it changes every one of your signs. It makes it 2x squared minus 17x plus 30. Okay. Now you do the rest of the problem just like you have all the other problems. You got the negative one on the outside, so you basically treat it as 2x squared minus 17x plus 30. You do 2 times 30, which is 60. What multiplies to equal 60 adds to equal negative 17. All right, take a second, think through it.
Yes, Christian.
I don't know which one's me.
Zane, do you know what two numbers multiply to 60 and add to negative 17?
I just said that.
20 and 30. Right now.
Well, right, then they don't add to negative 7 because one has to be negative, one has to be positive. Or, no, they both have to be the same sign. I mean, Jaylee, you know? Negative 5 and negative 12? What's negative 5 times negative 12? Yeah, so that doesn't work counter?
Negative 20 and 3.
Okay, you're close, and he said that, but that's not correct, because here, negative 20 and 3, why is that wrong? Because negative 20 times 3 is what? Negative 60. It's gotta be positive 60. So that works for the adding part. Joe?
Negative 20 and negative 3.
No, because that adds up to negative 23. Okay, Sam first, then Christian.
Negative 12 and negative 5.
12 times, yes, is that what you said? I'm sorry. I'm sorry, I don't know what I was thinking. You were right, I was wrong.
Jimmy, you're so stupid.
I'm sorry. So I probably confused everybody. So I
Yeah, me
apologize.
confused, to be honest. I was
I
like,
apologize.
saying for Christian, wrong thing.
What? What I do?
What was I thinking? I was thinking something else.
Like, you think it was -6?
No, I don't know what it was. I was thinking 15 and 2. I had 30 in my mind.
No.
That's what I was thinking.
That's what I was.
Okay, all right, GCF 2x. GCF negative 5. I get x minus 6. Negative 5, x minus 6. Don't forget to put the negative out in front. And you can just write it as a negative. You can make it a -1. Either way is fine. So it's gonna be a negative. We get x minus 6 times 2x minus 5. All right. Sorry, Taylor.
That's okay.
I was doing.
Another 6.
All right, 16. This is should be a really easy one. But I keep seeing a lot of you make a couple careless errors. Christian, what do you think?
Is it, like, do we have to, like, write it out, like, C minus,
You gotta write the answer.
oh, so C minus 5 times C plus 5.
Yep, that's all you gotta do. One's negative, one's positive. Okay, now, tomorrow, listen up here, this is important. For the test. It's gonna be the same format. The majority of the tests will be to where you just factor it one time. The problems at the end, the last 4, 5, or 6 problems, are ones that factor twice. So you gotta kind of remember that. Now, if you do this all correctly, these first few, and then you kind of botch the last few, you still probably get a B, a decent grade. Okay, so make sure you concentrate on like these 1 through 16. You really gotta know how to do those. Now, the rest, like after this, and those are the reasons we did it yesterday, a lot of times they have a GCF and they factor again. There's only gonna be one tomorrow that doesn't factor. Okay, so don't put down for 8 of them doesn't factor or completely factor.
What is the number that doesn't factor?
It was, I think, what, 23 yesterday? It was off the practice test. Oh, on tomorrow's test, I don't know.
Yeah, I'm asking.
I know. So you can get one right. So for this one here, it does have a GCF. Hanan, what do you think the GCF
Yeah.
is for 17? What do they got in common? Yeah, just x to the fourth. You don't have to have a number every time. X to the fourth is a GCF. When you divide by x to the fourth, we get 4 minus 49 x squared. Now, I'll tell you that factors again. That factors again. Okay? 4 minus 49 x squared is a difference of squares like we just had. So what squared gives you 4? 2 and 2. What squared, what can I multiply together? Jordan? And don't forget the x. So it's going to be 2 minus 7x and 2 plus 7x. That x to the fourth has to go on the outside. That x to the fourth still stays there. So once you get to the end, like I said, the last 4, 5, 6 problems is probably going to factor twice. So you kind of got to remember that. 18 has a GCF. Look through it. Okay, look through it. 12x squared y, 22xy, plus 6y. Preston, you know what the GCF is?
2y.
2y, good. 2y, 2y, 2y. That gives me 6x squared plus 11x plus 3. You now have to look on the inside and see, does that factor again? It will. It will. Now we just do those problems like we did like 13 and 14. Like it's just another problem where I'm going to multiply 6 times 3. And what multiplies to get 18 adds to get 11. And those two numbers would be 2 and 9. So I got 6x squared. And I'm going to put, I'm going to go ahead and put 2x first. Now, I get a 2x here, I get a 3 here, and I get 2x times x plus 1 plus 3 times, oh, hold on, that's not x plus 1, it's actually what? 3x plus 1. And then that's 3x plus 1. So I should have 3x plus 1 times 2x plus 3. And then don't forget, that wouldn't be correct, because what do I have to have out in front? 2y. Good. 2y. All right, now you did 19, we did 19, we did 20 yesterday, we did 20. You got to look back over those. Now on today's notes, I will have all the answers. All right, I want to give you a chance to earn a couple bonus points. You're going to have to get out a scrap sheet or a sheet of paper, put your name on it. Get ready to turn that in.
He's getting on that. Okay. I don't even know. He's even doing that. My credit.
I'm so confused.
Got what?
18. I was doing it one way and I took that right. I don't know.
Did you factor out 2y?
I actually got it right. Well, because
I did.
That's why you got to stick with me.
I got
This is what I did. And then I was out there.
we were doing like 17, we were doing 14. So
I don't know where I went.
we got stuck on 18 for a while.
Yeah, you didn't take the GCF out. You got to take the GCF out first. All right, here's what we got.
I said that. No, you do. No, you did. I said you didn't take out the 2y. You're like, what?
We'll put 5 problems up
Yeah,
here.
you got it wrong.
You're going to factor them.
Think that way.
give them to us. You got till the bell rings. It's gonna be a little bit less than 8 minutes.
We'll consider the.
It's only
There
five.
we go, there we go.
Okay, those 5, this is on your own. If you get 3 right, I'll give you 2 bonus points. Any 3. And if you get all 5 right, I'll give you 3 bonus points.
Mr. Dion.
Do you have a meeting with?
Wait, so wait, 2 and you get
Yeah.
the.
She was supposed to give me.
Okay. Yeah, you go ahead and do that.
What'd you say?
They get 3. They get 3 right, 2 bonus points. They get them all. 3. Turn off the record.